Man, this one tip right here could have cost me my entire lawn care business. And I could have, if you're looking to start a lawn care business in your first year through your third year, then this is the video for you. We're going to have 21 tips, and 21 just because it's my favorite number. 21 tips that you need to know and pray you know before you start your lawn care business and get going. So let's dive right on into it. Number one, we always are concerned about the main thing, the money, right? The pricing. Yeah, when we're out there in the field, we're just getting started. We want to focus on quantity and not necessarily quality just because of the fact that, hey, we're new, right? We first getting started. Again, we want to separate ourselves, maybe by mowing, bagging the front yard with a push mow, things like that, kind of separate ourselves from the other guys, which is going to increase our quantity because of the quality of the work that we're putting in. For some reason, I don't know, I guess in the lawn care industry, $50 is the standard. Guys, that's not the standard. The standard is what you make it, right? The standard is going to be what you decide your standard is. You know the time and energy that you put into this. Don't be intimidated by the customer that only wants to pay you $50 to cut their yard. Reason why I say that is we got to look around, right? Lawn care services and things like that is the one industry that people don't think is affected by the economy or inflation. Everything else is going up, so why haven't lawn care guys going up on the price of their service? If a customer doesn't understand that the gas that they're putting in their car is going up, so is the gas that we're putting in our mows and all our other equipment. So we got to charge accordingly, guys. Raise your prices $2 or $3. Even when you're first starting off, don't get out there and just, hey, I'm going to cut your yard for $40. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing the industry a disservice. And you're not going to make a profit doing it that way. I don't care if you just got a push mow and, a little small pickup truck. You're going to cost yourself and your business more money. We got to worry about a lot of other stuff, whether it's the purchase of new equipment, things like that. Don't put yourself in a hole by taking the cheapest route and giving people the cheapest service while you're out there doing quality work. Again, you determine what your quality is, not the customer. So focus on your pricing in the first year. Don't make the mistake I made and was charging customers not enough money when I'm out there cutting the yard. So that's number one, and that is key. Number two, equipment. We want to focus on getting quality equipment up front, but not a whole lot of equipment. You don't need all these different attachments and things like that for your weed eater. You just basically want to start off with a push mow, not a zero turn. We're in a different space and place than those quote unquote trust fund babies or people who, the young guys that, have a stronger support system financially. Maybe they came into some money and things like that. Guys, this process is going to take time. In the first year, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You're probably not going to generate any revenue because you're just getting started off. That's part of the process. Year two is where you're probably going to start to see a little bit of increase, but you really won't see a return on your investment probably till year three, unless you get involved with some of the things that we'll talk about and some of the other tips here. So again, make sure we get the proper equipment. Get yourself a push mow. You want to get a broom. You want to get a weed eater. You also want to get a blower, things like that. Now, if you're making decent money, I would suggest that you get yourself 2 weed eaters. Reason is, you can ask any lawn care guy out there. What tend to happen is the weed eater is going to be the first thing, the string trimmer is going to be the first thing that breaks on you. And that what stays in the repair shop the most. So you want to have your tools. There's nothing like being out there and your weed eater breaks and now you got to go run to your nearest Home Depot or Lowe's to try to find you another weed eater. Is going to eat up your time. You're going to have a disappointed customer because their yard's half done, and it's really going to knock you off schedule. Make sure you get weed eaters, string trimmers with attachment capabilities. Right down the road, you'll be able to afford to get some attachments, maybe an edger, things like that you can use, and it'll save you some time versus having to have one weeder, switching this one out, switching that one out for the attachments on them and things like that. So those are the standard things that you're going to need to get started in lawn care, the standard equipment. We can worry about the zero turn later on. The zero turns are not going to fit into most people's backyards. It's going to either be a pretty tight squeeze unless you got a real small one, things like that. So, you know, standard on a gate is probably, what, 32 inches to maybe 46, somewhere in there, 44, 42, whatever it is. You know, so keep that in mind when you're out there purchasing equipment. Get you a lawnmower with a Honda engine on it. If you decide and want to move up, you're in year 2 or 3, get yourself a riding mower with a Kawasaki engine. Those are going to be the routes to go. Those are going to last you the longest and give you the best return on your investment, in my opinion. So, again, 3. 3 is kind of one of those touchy subjects, right? Customers. Not every customer is your customer. We have to understand this from the beginning. You don't want to, for one, spend money out of your pocket. You don't know what your customer situation is. Number 2, customers are going to be the lifeblood of your business. So you want to be involved with the correct customers, the right customers. Customers can ruin your business just as quick as getting bad equipment. So when I say that, we want to target the customers. Of course, we you know, when we're starting off, we're dealing with family and friends and things like that. We can give them kind of a discount or whatever the case is. But the standard is the standard, like we talked about with customers. The ones that you want to watch out for are the ones who had a serious problem with the last guy. When I say a serious problem with the last guy, if a customer tells you, hey, this guy didn't show up on time, well, guess what that means? You need to show up and give the customer a range. Don't tell them I'll be there at 10 o'clock. Tell them you'll be there between 10 and 11. It's a service industry. Things happen. You know, your cable guy had you sitting at the house all day, and you don't even, the customer doesn't necessarily need to be at their house. So give them a range. They will know when you get there. Most people have Ring doorbells, things like that. So to eliminate and avoid them saying that you're not coming on time or whatever the case may be, and stay in constant communication with them. The main ones you want to look out for are pretty easy. You know, some people will come out and say, hey, last lawn care guy didn't show up. He said I wasn't paying him on time. If they weren't paying them on time, guess what? They're not going to pay you on time either. Don't waste your time. It's going to be an issue. You know, make sure that you get customers that are going to pay you on time. We'll talk about invoicing later, but again, make sure you get customers that are going to pay you on time. Don't get customers that you think may call you up and say, hey, look, I need to skip a week. If you do, and you're taking on one of those customers, the quickest way to get rid of those type of customers is tell them, hey, I understand that you're in a situation where you have to do that, but we're on a schedule, right? So if I wait till next week to catch it, if they're on a 2-week cycle, or, you know, if they're on an every other week cycle, I understand things happen. But hey, that slows my business down. For one, the one thing that it doesn't slow down is the grass growing. So you're going to have to do double the work if you decide to take on those type of customers. And I'm telling you, you need to tell the customer, hey, well, look, I'm going to have to charge you a little bit more, or the grass is going to be cut a little bit higher because of the fact that you need to wait a week. I'm not about to double work myself because, you know, you're not in a situation to, you know, get your grass cut on schedule when it needs to be cut. You know, we're not charging that much, you know, so if you can't find $50, $60 to get your grass cut on a timely basis, then what? We're going to charge you more, and that'll get rid of them. Don't work yourself that hard, guys. And also, the main customers you want to watch out for are going to be the ones that say, I cut grass before. If they've cut grass, guess what? They failed. Because they're not cutting grass right now. They're trying to get you to do it. So guess what their sole purpose is? Is to see you fail. They're not going to respect your time. You're not going to respect your energy. All that stuff. You know, so those are the ones you want to watch out for. The ones that want to skip a week. Also for the ones that want to tell you that they cut grass before. I've dealt with customers like that, and it's never ended up well. We also want to pay attention to, if we're going to somebody's house, we want to know, is without being too intrusive and trying to get in everybody's business, we want to know who is the responsible one for, you know, paying the bills, so to speak. If you have 2 people in the household paying bills and both of them are talking to you, we want to make sure that we communicate with both of them. I can tell you, horror situations where customers will take their confusion that's going on inside and bring it outside to your business with different projects and things like that. I had a customer who I gave a quote on that they asked me for to do some extra work at their house. Gave it to them in June. They waited till almost September to get back to me. And the reason they waited in June is because they told me the price wasn't right for what they wanted. So guess what? In September, they come around and say, hey, yeah, we're ready to get that done. And I only spoke to one of them. Guess what? Did the work at the quoted price that they've had on their hands for 3 months. And as soon as I was done, I get home and get a call from the other one saying that they were unsatisfied with the way I treated one person and the price that they given for the work. And I'm like, man, look, let's just end this confusion. I don't want it in my business. I appreciate your time and energy, and I think you should find yourself somebody else to cut your grass. All right? And just leave it at that. Keep it moving. If you lose a customer, you lose a customer. You lose a customer, you're going to gain 2 or 3. I promise. So stay focused on that. Number 4, don't give up. Don't give up. All the stress that you hear from other people about you shouldn't be doing this. This isn't the right business for you. And, you should go get a job. While they're on a just over broke, which is what a job is, it keeps you just over broke in order for you not to have your own vision. Ignore those low vibrating entity type of people, man. Most of the time, they're just dissatisfied with themselves. It's not about you. It's not about what you're doing. They're dissatisfied with themselves. They may not even like themselves that much. Anybody that's going to discourage your vision, you need to kind of eliminate them out of your life. So again, don't give up. Even when things get hard, when your equipment breaks down, when the customers aren't coming in, when it rains for a week straight, and you're unable to get out there and cut grass. Can I have some tips later on for you what you can do while it's raining and things like that to kind of keep you motivated and keep you stimulated in your business. Number 5, get your gas at night or early in the morning, preferably the night before. Right? And the reason I say that is because you have gas is a liquid. Guess what it does? It expands into gas. It evaporates. So what happens? The more heat that you have applied to a gas can, the less gas you're going to have when you get ready to open it up. Don't believe me? Sit your gas can out in the heat, put some gas in it, and go pop that top the next morning. It's going to be swole up, or that day in the middle of the day. It's going to be swole up and all that gas is going to come right out. That matters even when you're getting gas. There's less gas coming out of the gas pump when you're doing that. So you're paying more for less gas if you're getting gas in the middle of the day. It's just that simple. It's a law of physics and science or whatever you want to call it. So keep that in mind. Make sure you get your gas at the proper times. Number 6, long sleeve clothing. We want to have long sleeves on when we're cutting grass, guys. Long sleeves are going to keep you protected from the elements. It's actually going to keep you warmer. Cooler. There's nothing more like seeing somebody out there cutting in shorts and stuff like that. You're not protecting your skin. You're not protecting anything. You can shoot a rock into your leg, all kind of different stuff. So make sure we have that on. We have the right clothing. We also got our goggles on. We got our face coverings, and we got a hat on. All that stuff makes a difference. Long sleeve clothing and all that good stuff. Gloves on our hands, right? Make sure we're suited and booted and ready to go, man. Okay. Number 7. And look, guys, these aren't in any particular order. These are just ones that I wrote down a list that I could think of. So number 7, get yourself a logo, something basic, something simple to separate yourself from the guy that's just out there cutting grass and blowing it everywhere in the street and all the stuff that we don't want to do and look professional. Get yourself a logo on your shirt, something easy for people to remember. BBR, pretty simple. People can see that. Bouquet of Baton Rouge, real simple. So do that, and I tell you that'll also help you get clientele and get customers. Number 8. Make sure we're hydrating, guys. Make sure we're hydrating ourselves, man. We're out here in this heat. I know last year had a situation. We were working, 6-7 days straight, and it's 110 out. You know, it was ridiculously hot. We didn't get much rain last year, so you know that wasn't cooling us off. So make sure you're hydrated. Had myself full of cramps. You know, I played sports in the past, but I promise you these are the worst cramps that I've ever had in my life. Full body cramps, just locking up, man, and that is no fun. All because I decided I didn't want to hydrate. So if you got to take some time, maybe it's 10, 15 minutes out the day to hydrate after you cut every yard, we want to make sure you do that. We want to make sure we get in a cool, air-conditioned vehicle when we're going from spot to spot, kind of cool the body down. And you'll be able to tell when your fingers start locking up while you're grabbing the weed eater. You know, all of a sudden you get chill spells and it's 110 degrees outside, and like, man, you stop sweating. It's time to sit down and take yourself a break. Remember, guys, the most important thing out there while we're doing this is our health. If we can't get out there, we're not able to move to cut grass, guess what? Our business has to shut down. So that's the last thing you want to do. Get yourself hydrated. Focus on having a cooler, food, snacks, things like that to keep you pumped up and going throughout the day. Number 9, prep the night before. Remember we were talking about gas? We also want to take the things that we need for the next day, make sure they're everywhere they need to be. So when we get up in the morning, the only thing we got to do is hitch up that trailer and go, right? I've forgotten things at the house that I needed, whether it's been the broom, whether it's been, you know, equipment like a blower. But, man, I'm telling you, make sure you have all your equipment together the night before. It's going to save you a lot of time and energy. Like I say, I've been there. Number 10, prepare on Saturdays. Again, we're talking about, on Sunday nights. Prepare on Sunday nights. Sunday nights are going to be where you clean your equipment. Make sure you've done a review of the week before. Make sure you haven't forgotten anybody. You might have missed a customer because of weather and things like that. So we need to make sure we carry that over to the next week and see if we can find a spot to fit them in. Review, like I say last week, also focus on the customers that you're getting in. You also want to train yourself as far as technology, things that are going on in industry, new trends that you may see out there. Right now, the biggest thing is going to be going to electric and autonomous mowers, stuff like that. So guys, we got to be educated. That's going to affect our business here in a few years. You never know what might come out, what kind of new law might come out. I heard California is dealing with some things right now. So, let's make sure that we're in a good space and place when it comes to technology, and we don't want to be, we want to kind of see around the corner and not be trying to catch up when these type of things happen. So Sunday night's a good night for that to get done. Like I say, whether it's invoicing, things like that, that you want to get set up and get going early. Don't buy a bunch of marketing material. You guys have probably already seen the video that I have on door hangers and how I feel about door hangers. I feel like they're a waste of time. I've done that for 20 years of work for AT&T, and one of our job requirements was that we actually go out and knock on doors. And when I tell you, first of all, it's a hard job to do. Your close rate on that, if you're good, if you're great, is anywhere from 2 to 3%. So that means for every 100 that you hang, and that's with a customer interaction, yeah. If you just hang something on the door and leave and that's it, no follow-up or anything like that, guess what happens? The customer just throws that stuff in the trash. Your percentage as far as close rate is way below 0%. It's really ridiculous what your close rate is. So you could probably put out about 200, 300 flyers, and you may get a call back, and 9 times out of 10, they're not going to want to deal with you. They're going to want you to come back out there if they are even interested in getting the service as it is, right? And by that time, we probably moved on to something else and got other customers to deal with. So again, with the flyers, they're okay. The main thing you want to make sure you got is a business presence on social media. You also want to make sure you got some business cards. Get on Facebook, get on Instagram. I encourage everybody to start a YouTube channel. I've gotten customers off of YouTube, gotten them off of Facebook. And those are the things we want to try to do when we're out there getting started and trying to develop our customer base. Easiest way to get it done is through social media, which is what everybody's doing now. People aren't reading like they used to. So all this other stuff that's just kind of, extra in their mind that they can get rid of, taking up space in their head when you hand them a door hanger or put something on their house. It might piss them off even. They stain doors, all kind of stuff. So I can get into all horror stories about that, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to move on to these next little tips. Number 12, get yourself a website. A website. Now, I know we just got done talking about marketing. Get yourself a website. This is a little different. The website is going to be your hub. You can take your website and take all the other information from social media, put it there, and guess what you also get to do? You also get to create your online presence with how you approach your website. I mean, you could have blog posts on there to educate your customers. You could have videos on there telling your customers, hey, this is what I do, this is what I'm about, and showing them your knowledge of the lawn care industry and your overall love for it. So let's make sure that we got ourselves a website. I know people say it's a lot of money and all this stuff. If you do your research, you can find websites, builders, things like that, and do it yourself for about $10 a month. I'll actually put a link in the description here for you as far as a website builder that you can go to. I don't get any commission off them or anything. It's just the one that I choose to use. All right. Networking. Network. A lot of the information you hear on YouTube, people tell you as far as networking is concerned, network with guys who are in the industry. No, it's not necessarily the people you want to work with. At the end of the day, we are entrepreneurs. We're business people. So you want to network with business people. Business is one of those things that's transferable. Like, so you could be selling hamburgers. And guess what? We're going to have something in common, whether it's the fact that we need bank accounts, whether it's the fact that we need clients, customers, and different ways of getting them. All that stuff is transferable, guys. So get yourself a network of business people, of entrepreneurs. When you're first starting out, that's going to be your family. And that's going to be your friends. From there, you want to expand in your second year and get to know a lot more people, maybe 10 networking events in the area. Do your research. One of the things I mentioned earlier is basically we want to research and the things we can do when it rains. This is one of those things we can do, 10 networking events, get to know people, introduce yourself to a banker, all kind of stuff to where we're helping grow our business when we're not able to get out there and actually cut grass. So networking is going to be key to that. I choose to operate in the government contracting space, and that's how I do a lot of my networking. And it starts off slow, but you got to build, guys. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of accelerate the process. We'll talk a little bit more about that in one of the other tips, but let's move on to number 14. 14, we want to find ourselves something else to do. When I say something else to do, maybe in the lawn care industry, whether it's get your horticulture's license, so you'll be able to do flower beds, all kinds of little different things, depending on what state you're in. They require licensing for the spray, whether it's fertilizer or herbicides or pesticides. There's licenses that you need to get. All right, so those are the things we want to focus on. So when our business is a little slow, we can kind of move on to some of those other things like doing flower beds, stuff like that, or even spraying for customers, in the off season. And again, we're building a business, right? There's not one successful business out there that I can think of personally. And if you can, tell me a business, go in the comments, give me an idea of a business that doesn't do more than one thing, that doesn't offer more than one service, that doesn't sell more than one thing. Give me one, and we'll go from there. But I'm not aware of any. So what we want to do, if we're building a business, and we are a businessman, so we want to make sure we expand ourselves as much as possible. Don't stretch yourself thin. That's why I say get you one that you can start off with. That, like I said, is going to supplement your income in the slow times. Number 15, we want to have a mentor. A mentor is so important, and I have a mentor who I actually work with. He's a younger guy who has started this business way before me. So, I take on any information that he can give me, and I work with him, when I'm not cutting my own yard. So That's how you're gonna, expand your business. You're also gonna learn the game, knowledge of the business, what to do in certain situations, whether you break a customer's window, things like that, and you have a flat on your mow, or any of those kind of things that are going to happen. Your mentor is there to help you out and kind of guide you through. And guess what? I'm working with them, making money also. So, that's a benefit. Find you a mentor if you can that's in the lawn care industry. And try to make yourself some money that way too. And that'll get you boosting. Because guess what? There's a lot of grass out here. And we've always talked about, customers, your marketing is going to be the work that you do. The time that you put in, what customers see you do. Customers are going to come to you. You don't have to necessarily worry about going out there knocking doors and doing all that stuff. They're going to come to you and say, hey, you cut grass. You just got to be ready. So what happens is the guys that you're working with now, the mentor, if you're working with him in a good space and place, he's going to give you customers. Because you can't cut all the grass. You can't cut all the grass out there, guys. It's too much grass to cut to sit there and be selfish. So if you want to get yourself some customers, that's another way, is by finding yourself a mentor and somebody's in that place that'll be able to help you out and slide you a few customers in. So get yourself a mentor. Number 16, we want to talk about billing, how we get paid. At minimum, we need to have Cash App. At minimum, I prefer to use Yardbook. That's my deal. I'll leave a link in the description for you for that also. It's one of the easier tools. It's free for everything that you needed to do when you're first getting started off. They go through Stripe, which has a payment system. Helps you out that way. So again, let's just make sure that we're in a good space and place. Invoicing, emailing, customer reminders, all that stuff's included for free in Yardbook. You're able to build quotes, estimates, all that stuff. So check out Yardbook if that's something you're interested in. But at minimum, make sure we have, Cash App. We don't want to be in a situation where we're taking cash from all our customers. There's numerous reasons why you don't want to do that. You'll spend the money before you actually get the money type situation. Don't do that. Checks are okay. We still got ways to track them, and that's a way that you're not gonna have to go to the bank in order to start spending that stuff. So make sure you get yourself a billing system. Number 17 is gonna be trailer safety tips. Trailer safety tips, guys. If you don't do anything, make sure that you have some way to strap your mower down. If you have a zero turn, have some way. I actually have wheel chucks on mine, so that'll make it easy for the mower not to move, and then strap the wheels down so the thing doesn't move. Also, get you two locks, not one, two locks. You need two locks, one for your trailer hitch, right? They're usually like a long bar. You can do your research on those, but a long bar that you can put on your trailer hitch to make sure it doesn't come off. We need that. And we also need a lock for the actual trailer ball hitch. At the top, you see a clamp. There will be a little circle in there. That little circle is for you to slide your lock through. And believe me, that was a mistake I made that almost cost me my whole business, man, in the first year. Now, I've been cutting grass since I was a little kid. Used to cut grass with my grandfather every summer. That's what we did. That was our vacation, me and my brother. So, hey, I knew that you needed a lock, but I just was moving too fast and didn't think about it until it was too late. And I'm going down the road, and next thing you know, the trailer pops up off the back. The only thing keeping it on was my clamps and my ropes clamps, and hits the ground, right? Truck starts sliding all over the place. I'm doing about 50 miles an hour. So, I get out. What happens? Cars are still coming. It's, one way, both ways. Guess what happened? I could have gotten hit, but didn't. Thank the Lord for that. Didn't get hit. But when I got out and I go to lift the trailer up to put it back on the hitch, it's probably about 400 degrees. Yeah, it wound up burning my hands, all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's make sure that we don't do anything to ruin our business before it even gets started. And one of the ways you can do that is make sure that your trailer's locked on and that it's safe. Just a simple thing that I forgot about, So we don't even want to make that mistake. Get yourself a lock as if you got a zero turn, but we kind of already talked about that. You probably want to be in year two or three before you make that move. Okay, next one's gonna be educate yourself on the lawn care industry. Educate yourself. Another thing we can do when it's not, feasible for us to cut grass, educate ourselves on our crafts and our trends that we got available to us, and focus on getting that type of stuff done early and often when we have the opportunity, whether it's going back and looking at some certification information, whether it's going back and checking out those autonomous vehicles and stuff like that. The lawn care industry changes quite often. If you're getting into fertilization and stuff like that, there's things that you need to have and be aware of on a daily basis with that. So we want to make sure we're safe. We want to make sure we're doing it the right way, and educate yourself on your craft, guys. There's new tools out there. There's different things that you can, do to kind of subside yourself when we can't get out there and work. Number 19, we're almost through. Get yourself a good repair shop. When you're purchasing a mow or you're purchasing a weed eater, make sure you got a local repair shop. You're not going to want to take it to the big box stores or things like that, because that's going to be time and energy to slow you down. A lot of us are pretty familiar with the equipment that we have. We may be able to do a lot of stuff ourselves, like change the oil, things like that, but usually when things break, they break, meaning that you need to take it into somebody. If a part broke or something like that, you're not going to have them. If your blade breaks, you may have a spare, but again, you got to get somewhere to get it put on. That can be a hassle and take a little while, where you could just take it to somebody and they get it done in about 30 minutes for it. So make sure we got us a repair shop, one that's going to keep your stuff under warranty, all that kind of stuff, and that's local and closer to you. Number 20 is going to be lawn care hazards. Lawn care hazards, I'm talking about whether you're saying it's the toys in the yard that you could shoot into a customer's window, whether it's the dog crap that you might run through, or whether it's the animals, nature itself, whether it's snakes, they're out this time of year, whether it's ants, like I have here, ant bites. This stuff is part of the game, guys. We just got to make sure we're out there being safe. Hornets, stuff like that, been stung by those. It's the nature of the lawn care industry. You're going to have things that happen to you that may cause you a little bit of pain, but if you love what you do, you learn to kind of protect yourself and keep yourself out of that. You want to make sure we're shaking the bushes, trimming trees. If we're doing anything like that, trimming bushes, we want to make sure we shake them with a stick. Make sure there's no hornets or anything like that in there. Snakes, you kind of have to be careful for and be on the lookout for. This is their time of year when they just started moving around and getting active. So if you're out there in somebody's yard and they have any kind of debris that you need to move around, whether it's big toys, things like that, trampolines, stuff like that, make sure we're moving this stuff away from us. So if it actually decides to have something under it, they'll go in the opposite direction. Keep that in mind. Lawn care hazards can be serious issues, right? We also need to make sure that we're careful when we're moving this stuff around. Lawn care hazards can be a serious issue. We want to make sure that we're careful when we're in the customer's yard. Right now is that time of year where we got all kind of things going on. Kids are out in the yard playing, whether their toys are left out. You don't want to take a toy and shoot it into somebody's window. We got to watch out for ants. I already have some from this year already on my arm here. So again, be careful. Make sure we're not getting involved with any of that kind of stuff. Nature is going to take its course. They're going to run into bees, wasps, all that stuff. So we got to kind of get ahead of the game. Make sure we're, shaking the bushes. If you get you a stick or something to shake it, make sure there are no bees, wasps, or anything like that, hornets in there. Snakes, those are out this time of year. They're real big down south. Remind your customers of this. If you're moving any kind of equipment or anything like that in their yard, make sure we're moving this stuff away from us, pull it towards you, so the open side is on this side and it goes away from you, whatever's under there, so kind of be careful when you're moving stuff, and so you don't get bit by snakes and all that good stuff. We're also going to have number 21 here, right? Make sure you get involved with the federal government. Make sure you get those certifications with the federal government. That is the only way, and the only way you're going to level up your game in the lawn care industry and make over $100,000 quick. I know you see these guys out here with, 3 and 4 zero turns and, 3, 4 trucks, and they also have, 4 weed eaters. What are we doing with all that stuff for real? Come on now. Let's get real about the situation. You can only use one of those pieces of equipment at a time. So if you have a 20-foot trailer or 15-foot trailer and you're out there by yourself, how long does it take you to pull all that stuff off the trailer if you're actually using it? I think more of that is kind of hype. And at the end of the day, these people are telling you they made this amount of money in a year. They're not including the insurance that they're taking out, all this stuff, the employees that they did have them help on the larger thing. You're not going to make that type of money by yourself. There's no way. If you are, you're out there ripping off customers. Or guess what? You're getting involved with the federal government, who is one of the most lucrative people to deal with, one of the higher end clientele that you want to deal with, and they're premium customer, right? So you're able to charge a little bit more and get the work done yourself. That's going to be really the only way you're able to, level up your lawn care game to, in 1 year, over $100,000. All the other stuff that you guys are hearing is really cap. That's all it is cap. So if you're looking for ways to level up your lawn care game, I need you to check out this video right here. Let's go.